Hi, Kevin. I just want to go through some of the Unit 8 assignments. I was talking to your mom and emailing with her earlier this week, and we both felt that you had sort of been rushed in order to finish the course at a certain time, and that if you had had more time, that you certainly would have done better on it. So if you would like to take the time to go back over some of the material that I think at the end of the course you may have rushed through. For instance, some of the assignments for Unit 8 that you handed in, I received those on the day before you wrote the exam. I did my best to try and get back the feedback to you as soon as I could, but I really don't think that with school and everything you would have had time to read through those and incorporate that into your studying for the exam and have a really thorough understanding of that before your final exam. So this is the third assignment. With the other ones, you did really well on the first assignment. The second assignment, not so much, but it was more a matter of you not giving specifics. You were just answering questions, in terms of like she'd be better off choosing this one because she'll make more than $10,000 more, and that kind of thing. And so what we were looking for there was really specific answers, with some work shown and show me exactly how much more she'll make, or subtract the two things and give me the difference. She makes this much more and that kind of thing. So I'll let you go back to that one for assignment 2. For assignment 3, I'm going to start here because it was the same mistake each time in the assignments carrying forward. And I think if I go through it with you on this assignment and give you a chance to practice these ones over again, you'll see how to do it, and you can apply that to some of those other assignments in this unit. So for 1A, we've got a loan of $12,500, and it's being paid off in a 15-year period, and the initial loan interest rate was 18%. So we're supposed to figure out the amount of the loan, the present value of the loan, if the interest rate was compounded, and in the first case they're asking for semi-monthly. So we have two things that have to go into our formula. You've got the A part right, that's this part here, the 12,500, but we also need an I and an N value, and those change according to how things are compounded. So if I starts out as 18% per year, then if I'm going to pay you interest more frequently throughout the year, the advantage is that you make interest on your interest, not that I'm going to pay you 18% a month if it's compounded monthly. The 18% has to be the total of all the interest you receive in a year. So we have to divide that up into smaller chunks of interest if we're going to pay interest more often. So for instance, if I was paying you twice a year, I'd pay you 9% each time, so it would add up to 18%. So in this case, we're being paid semi-monthly, and that means twice a month. So with 12 months in a year, that's 24 payments. We're going to take our 18% and divide it by 24. That's going to make 0.75% interest. And so when we change that to a decimal, we're going to stick 2 more decimal places in there and move it down to 0.0075, and that's the value that you want to put in instead of 0.18. Okay? Now for N, if I'm paying you interest twice a year, then all told in 1 year, that would be 12 months times 2 times a month, which is 24 times. And that's going to be over a period of 15 years in the case of this question. And so we need 15 times 24, which is the 360. So you've got that number here, which is great, and that's your N value. So if you use the interest rate that applies to the semi-monthly payments instead of the yearly payments, you're going to find that you get a much different amount that he has borrowed, because over 15 years, if he's making 24 payments a year, he's not going to pay $1,657 each time. that's over $3,000 a month, isn't it? And so if you think about that times 12, he's paying off $36,000 every year. And then for 15 years, that's an awful lot of money to pay back $12,500 as an initial loan amount. Okay, so the nice thing about these questions is that they should make sense. You should be able to think to yourself, is that answer reasonable? If he's paying off $30,000 a year or $36,000 a year for 15 years, you're looking at closer to $500,000 that he's paid off. And so you need to ask yourself if that answer makes sense at the end of the game, and if it doesn't, see if you can go back and figure out what you may have done wrong, okay? And so again with B, if it's compounded daily, you've got 5,475, which I'm assuming is 15 times 365, and it's kind of a crazy question for them to ask, to be honest. You're right, that's an awfully big exponent. I think that when you're trying to do that with a calculator, your calculator kind of blows up because that's too big of a number. However, if you're doing it daily, then 18% divided by 365, because that's how many times we're going to pay the interest, that becomes a really small number. That becomes 0.49%, just rounded off to two decimal places, 0.049%, sorry. And so as an I, or a decimal, that becomes 0.00049. So if you were to feed that number instead of 18 into that bracket, I think your calculator might cooperate a little bit more. I'm just trying it out here on my calculator to see for sure. 49 to the exponent, 5,475. Yep, it gives you a number. It's small, but it gives you a number, and so you can work from there and get the payment amount, okay? Okay, so, sorry, I don't know if you can hear my son in the background, but he's bumping around the house trying to, as soon as I make a video, he decides he's going to make a lot of noise. Murphy's Law, I think. So again, here, 1.18, if you're compounding monthly, take your 18% and divide it by 12 first to make your interest rate, and then divide by 100 to make it a decimal. Your 180 is correct, because 15 times 12 is 180. And you didn't calculate anything here for payment, and so go ahead and calculate that. So I'm hoping that, just going through those questions, I know I've been talking a lot here, but I want to make sure you really, really understand that. That was the major problem that carried through all of the rest of the assignments for you. And that was really frustrating for me trying to mark it, because I could see that that was the one problem you were having, and under normal circumstances we could have dealt with that problem and corrected it, and then before you moved on to the next assignment you would have had that information, you would have been able to do them correctly from there. So what I need for you to do now is to take that, apply what we've just talked about to this assignment, and try it again, send it to me, and you can just put it in the same Dropbox, that's fine, and I will this time mark it, give you feedback, and I want you to wait until you get that feedback for me to say, yep, you got it, go ahead, or no, we're still having, this issue, let's correct this before you move forward. And then we'll work our way through the other assignments in Unit 8, and we'll see about some kind of alternate testing on Unit 8 to adjust your overall exam mark on the finance unit.